GPL 357. We're a few degrees short of a full circle. We are into the preliminary final weekend. So there's only 4 teams left. We've got heaps to discuss about what happened on the weekend. It was close with some amazing scoring. And discuss it as our normal panel. On my left, the celebrity corruptible himself, DC Carroll. How are you, DC?
Hey, Tone, how you doing?
And on my right, we've got the man behind the bar, as always, hearing everything, Scotty Lyons.
G'day, Tone.
And we do have a live audience, so if we make any mistakes, we'll know. So it's really fantastic to see. What we'll do is we'll have a chat about the knockout, guys. It's moving into the semi-finals, and then we'll talk about the big one, the premiership. So let's have a talk about the knockout, the quarterfinals. Darren, Wanderers versus the Wood Ducks. How did that go?
Yeah, well, just when you thought the season couldn't have gotten any worse for the Wood Ducks, they get knocked out on the countback.
Yes.
The Wanderers 166, Wood Ducks obviously the same score. Came down to, I think Stuart Instant came in with a good score at the end in almost semi-darkness to
The last group
to knock Wood Ducks out and move the Wanderers into the preliminary final of the knockouts and giving them a chance of silverware.
Yes, well, they'll enjoy that. They haven't won any trophies yet, and they're very close to it. What about you, Scotty? Who are they going to be playing?
Well, the Wally World and Ferrets had an interesting match. Wally World, nothing to play for in the main season. They're normally still going to Premiership, but they were already knocked out. They actually said to me during their round, they said they'd like to actually beat the Ferrets without even trying. And with a score of 168, they did their job, and the Ferrets also didn't do their job because they had 164 and the Ferrets are out of the knockout.
They are indeed. So Wally World guys will be playing the Wanderers. They met just 2 weeks ago in the big one, and the Wanderers got over the Wally World then. Bit concerned about Wally World. They might have gone early. The predictions, the Wanderers have predicted to win this, 172 to 169. And with Wally Friscals having 43 and Collingwood 39 on Wednesday, they may have gone too early, the Wally World, and it's amazing that they didn't time their run. I think the Wanderers on the back of that are looking good to knock them over and get themselves into the grand final. What do you reckon, DC?
Yeah, well, past history in finals, you'd probably tend to think that Wally World should get up here, but as you say, Wally Frascalzo shooting 43 on Wednesday.
Captain's knock.
Captain not turning up in uniform last Saturday, which caused a little bit of fracture amongst the team, so he's probably gone rogue a little bit, Wally, at the end of the season. Maybe he's got another 43 in him that can get him across the line, but I think I'll go safe and I'll go the Wanderers in this one.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he got another 43, but you never know. What about you, Scotty?
You blokes are kidding yourself. Wally World are a much better team than the Wanderers. Wally World easy.
Really? Well, we'll see if the algorithm gets that done and dusted.
So that's Scott Willans at the bar for everybody in the Wanderers outfit.
The other quarterfinals are Tunners against Back Nine Mafia. DC, how did you see that?
Yeah, Tunners won this one comfortably. Just a little bit too much class on the table there for, or class on the pitch there for Back Nine Mafia. 176 to 165. Time their run, try and get something at the end of the year. Back Nine Mafia with the disappointment of the premiership. Defence falling by the wayside, but the Tunners were just way too strong on the day and had a few good scores early. 42 from Bobby Marsh, I think, sort of set the round up, and they're looking good. They might even win a couple of little trophies this year, Tunners.
Well, they're the only ones left who can do the double. They'll be playing the winner of the Phoenix and Buglers. Scotty?
Well, the Buglers haven't had a bad game all year until last Saturday. 168. They had a few players out knowing that they had bigger fish to fry this week. The Phoenix got over the top with a score of 178 to 176. Phoenix again could be back-to-back grand finalists in the knockout.
They're bigger fish to fry. The Buglers have burnt themselves a bit of the old deep fryer over the last few years, so we'll see how they get up. So Tunners against the Phoenix. The Tunners are predicted to just get over these by 2. They certainly are creating some momentum at the right time. Tunners are a momentum team, and geez, they're flying at this time.
Yeah, and look, let's give credit where it's due with technology. This little predictor thing has been not far off the mark with a lot of the results over the past few weeks. Predicting the Tunners to beat the Phoenix by only 2 is an error. So, I think the Tunners will give the Phoenix the mother of all hidings this week.
Well, we'll see. You know, it's very, very reliable prediction. What about you, Scotty?
That's Darren Campbell, Phoenix, by the way. Look, Phoenix have kept on surprising. A solid 178 last week, which kept them in it. Look, I think, but in saying that, I think the Tunners have been very good in the second half of the season. Their scores have started to be very consistently in the 180s. Look, I'd like to see there is a bit of a chance of an upset, but I think the Tunners for me.
Yeah, I think the Tunners as well. The Phoenix, all the team turned up with the presence for the outgoing captain, Jen. Obviously thinking that last week was going to be their last throw of the dice, and they've got up over the Buglers, and I think that is the last throw they'll do. So I'd expect the Tunners to get up, and I think the Tunners will be playing in the big one. So we'll move on to the major event, our premiership guys. It's the 10th year this has been going, and we've got some big names still amongst that. The first semi-final we saw the Tridents were up against the Wanderers. How'd that go, DC?
Okay, this was a tough one to predict beforehand. We had the Tridents who pretty much limped into the finals with no form to speak of, and Wanderers maybe not really believing they should have been there. And a preliminary final spot was up for grabs. It needed something special, and out of the depths of the great lasagna tragedy from about 4 or 5 weeks ago, Daryl Hocking turned up with one arm against 17 doctors telling him he shouldn't play. His wife said he shouldn't play, and he's turned up in that magnificent blue strip that the Tridents have, and basically inspired them to victory. Nick Carrington, on seeing Daryl turning up, lifted, shot 43 and 176 to 166. It turned out to be a comfortable victory. Tridents are back in form, and they're down to the last 4.
They certainly are. And they will be up against the winner of the Tunners and Sewer Rats. Scotty, who came up over that one?
Well, the Tunners and the Sewer Rats was a blockbuster in the making, but it ended up being a bit of a fizzer, as like the grand finals in the AFL in the 1980s. But anyway, we'll get the Tunners put a strong score in the morning. I think they had 173 by lunchtime with 6 plays to come, which put a lot of pressure on the Sewer Rats, and unfortunately for the Sewer Rats, they didn't come up to the challenge, and it was a convincing win by the Tunners, 185 to 163. The Sewer Rats desperately unlucky the week before with the 2 losing both the knockout and the qualifying final on count back. Good season by the Sewer Rats though. In saying that, they played well, but unfortunately this year isn't their year.
Yeah, you got to admit that 185-point draw and countback loss really took the.
You tipped them over.
The Ferrets got over them, and the mighty Ferrets, and it certainly did prick their balloon, and the Sewer Rats unfortunately just blew out and weren't even in the hunt. So we've got 4 left. The Buglers guys will be playing the Tunners, the Tridents will be playing the Ferrets in the prelim. But before we talk about that, let's have a bit of a chat about those teams. One thing I've noticed, a theme that happened on the weekend, the morning players really do have the ability to put a lot of pressure on the afternoon players. If they go out, and what happened, Nick Carrington's 43 and Bobby Marsh's 42, just lit a fire under their teams. And I think if the 4 teams can have their morning players go well, which is not great for the Tridents, it really does
It defeats your argument.
go a long way towards winning.
It's a little bit like cricket, isn't it? I mean, especially in finals where they say runs on the board count for double. So all those morning players, it's a double-edged sword though. The morning players go out there and perform poorly, and the afternoon players are dealing with the extra pressure. So I think that right combination. I think we've got maybe 3 of those teams that have a mix of morning and afternoon, and is the Tridents are the ones that stand out as the only ones with all afternoon players.
Scotty, we've got 4 Buglers, Tunners, Tridents and Ferrets. The Tunners haven't won this thing, but the other 3 have. The Buglers and Ferrets have won it twice. Give me an argument for the Tunners. Do you think they can get up?
Well, I think unlike other seasons, the Tunners seem to come out of the box quite hard and have good seasons, but this year they've actually gone the opposite, and it seems like the momentum is with them. Like, as I said before, their scores have been consistently in the 180s in the past six weeks, and I think if they put another score up of 180 odd, I think that'll put a bit of pressure on the Buglers, who this time of year have struggled to measure up to the pressure.
It's funny you should say that. You jumped on the Tunners a long time back, DC. They were in 15th place on the ladder after round 6, and they find themselves in the prelim. What did you see?
I just saw some a good mix of low handicap and mid-range handicap guys that were all starting to perform in and around their handicap. So once you get that base of 180 with 3 or 4 guys having 36, it really then is all you need is just one guy to have a good day, and all of a sudden you're up in the mid-180s. So the thing that concerns me about this week for the Tunners is looking at the timesheet. There's a couple of names missing from the Tunners lineup. I'm hoping that those guys are going to be added in at the last minute, or are just sort of rearranging their commitments to get out here, because the one thing you don't want to give the buglers is a numbers advantage, because they will bury you if you don't put up the same amount of players that they will on the day.
There's no doubt you've got to hit the buglers with all 11 on the park, otherwise you're almost giving it to them. It's funny, we have in our live audience Mr. July from 2008, Todd Mansfield from the Buglers originally. He didn't contribute all year, got to July, and he just posted the greatest score every single week. It was a magnificent final series. They're predicted to beat the Tunners by 3, which is close. Guys, who stands out for the Buglers if they're going to win this?
Well, funny you should mention Todd. I think a close relative of his in Breck Mansfield has put up a couple of good scores so far in the final series, and I think he might continue over the next couple of weeks in that vein of form and get something high 30s, low 40s, which the Buglers will probably need.
Look, they feast on a good score early, the Buglers, and they go hard. What about you, Scotty? Who's going to win this one?
Oh, look, you got to say the Buglers have been one of the 2 best teams in the whole season. I know that'll count for nothing tomorrow, but I think they'll continue with their big scores. I think even Allender or even Hesketh, if they can get a big score in the morning, assuming those boys are playing in the morning, I think they will probably get over the line.
Just on that, I had to apparently at the start of the year I picked the Buglers to slide, and I was told I had to make an apology if they didn't slide. So they've made it to the prelim. So yes, they have not done any sliding since last year, but they're not going any further. Dale, you're not going to win. Tunners have got you covered. Tunners through the grand final for me.
Yeah, well, you've been on the thing, 2 in the morning. Brian Hesketh, 39 on Wednesday too, just timing his run, not quite. Didn't make the captain happy. He was grumbling for the entire 18 holes round on Wednesday, but to me, I find it, as much as the Tunners would be a big night for you, Scotty, if the Tunners got up.
I think if either team gets up, it's a big no.
I think the Buglers.
I think the Buglers aren't small drinkers either.
They'll keep the tradition going, and I would be very surprised if the Buglers didn't continue their amazing form. A wonderful season so far. They probably deserve the grand finals at this stage. Over to the other side, we've got the Tridents who all play in the afternoon, and against the Ferrets who scatter themselves amongst the field, which does leave the Ferrets with that ability to throw a lot of pressure on these Tridents who are struggling. They're starting to find a bit of form, but the Ferrets have been great all season. Peter Gilder up there, he's been holding up a 42 in the finals just a couple of weeks ago.
They got him into the preliminary final.
Certainly did. The Ferrets are predicted to win by 3. Scotty, who wins this and why?
You can't go past the Ferrets. I think they've been a much better team in the last I think all season basically than the Tridents. Tridents, look, they did win, fantastic, but it took a 43 for them to have 176, which if Nick Kane has say 39, that's a 172, which I don't think will cut it against the Ferrets.
It's a very good addition. You're a mathematician.
No, I think the Ferrets will be too good.
Maybe we don't need this algorithm. What do you reckon, DC?
Yeah, look, I pretty much tend to agree with what Scott said then. Very insightful. Tridents haven't quite matched up to the Ferrets' scores week in, week out. However, on the day, anything can happen. But as much as last week they pulled one out of the fire, I can't see them doing it 2 weeks in a row. And Pete Gilder's looking at me very angrily over there, so I'm going to say he's going to be best on ground as the Ferrets make their way through to the grand final, just to keep him happy.
Yeah, well, I tend to agree. The Ferrets have been great, really, since about June last year. They've just been tremendous, and it'd be an upset if the Tridents win this, and I can't see them getting up. I think the Ferrets have been too strong for too long, and should get it done. And it does mean that if the Buglers do meet the Ferrets in the grand final, both these teams have won it twice, and one of them will obviously get their third premiership, which would put them at the top of the pile, which would be magnificent. So guys, it's all happening this weekend. Tomorrow it's going to be very windy in the afternoon. It's going to be a battle of attrition. Thank you as always for your insightful comments, and we'll see how this goes. Don't forget everyone, if you want to win this thing, you need to turn up and play well. This has been GPL 357, and we'll see you tomorrow.